Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item will be the moment of silence by Mr. Jerry Denton.
As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in other silent activity. Thank you.
Next item number 3 will be the Pledge of Allegiance by our Board Clerk, Ms. Brandy Roulette.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Too fast, Ms. Roulette. I about fell out of my chair.
No, man.
Everybody else was standing already.
I
I was a
know.
little slow.
I pulled a muscle. Next item number 4 will be approval or discussion of the board meeting minutes from November the 8th. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item number 5, Mr. Foreman. Yeah, they just popped up.
They just popped up.
Good evening, President Allen, members of the board. I'm up here representing the BAPS Foundation, and as I talk, I'm going to ask the members present to saunter this way. Make sure you saunter. You have to saunter. It is my pleasure and honor to ask you all to approve money for teacher grants, courtesy of the Broken Arrow Public Schools Foundation. As they do each school year, the foundation asks for submissions for teacher grants from across the district, looking for interesting ideas and curriculum that impact the classroom directly. And this year, the foundation has raised a total of $50,192.36 in funding, an increase of more than $10,000 from last year.
Wow.
The number of grants that were submitted this year were 95, with 62 of those grants being awarded later this month. In addition, the district submitted a wish list to the foundation earlier this fall for classroom impact items and career pathways curriculum, and the foundation granted each and every wish list request this year to a total of $75,163.25, including fully funding the BizTown annual field trip for all elementary sites. Yes. It has been a very fruitful and prosperous and truly amicable partnership this year between the district and the foundation. So with that, I'd like to ask the board to please approve the teacher grant monies in the amount of $50,192.36 to be dispersed later on this month.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
John, do you want the check or do you want me to walk off?
Mr. Diller, we would love you all to stand up here and have your picture taken. But first off, we want to thank you all very, very much for all your hard work and commitment to the foundation. I know many of you have been on there a very long time, Delbert, and appreciate all your effort. And it's just amazing what you all have done, what the foundation has done. The partnership, this is strength to where it's at. It's really awesome to see. I had the pleasure of serving on that foundation as well, and I just appreciate the work and effort that you give and commitment to Broken Arrow. Thank you all very much.
I was going to ask Board President, Mr. Catlett, to introduce his guest and
That'd be
himself.
great. That'd be great.
Come on up here, Frankie.
Thank you.
Frankie.
I'm Frankie Catlett. I'm the president of the foundation. This is Delbert Freeze. I think everybody in the room knows Delbert already. That's good. And everybody knows Liz Burns,
Yes.
or Mrs. Burns,
Ms. Burns.
my 8th grade teacher. Probably everyone's teacher at some point here. But we aren't finished yet. We're going to be giving more away. Oh, I'm sorry, Kristen Brown. I'm sorry. You were hidden back there. I apologize. But we aren't finished. We've got more stuff planned, more stuff to give, and more things to do to enhance the classroom experience. And that's what our goal is. And we aren't settling with just doing teacher grants, teacher of the year. We want to do more for the school system.
And Frankie, thank you, because it is so awesome to see what you all have done, just the Biz Town and the other items from the wish list, just expanding the help from the foundation. Just greatly appreciate it. I know the people in the district do, but it's nice to see the foundation that's evolved and just really, really going that extra mile to help every way they can, and it's greatly appreciated.
And what a great surprise that it has actually increased this year, especially
Yes.
with COVID.
Mhm.
And so that was amazing to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Ms.
for
Burns,
supporting
it's always
everything.
great to see you.
It's always good to be back.
Mr. Allen, would you come up front and get a picture with
Sure. Let's have the whole board go up
Oh,
there.
no,
Come on.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm scrubs.
Now, come on, Ms. Majors. Started to cut through there.
I know. One day I look like a ragamuffin.
Good to see you.
How are you? Good. Like each other.
They're back to 10.
Okay, I'm gonna take, oh, sorry, I just rear-ended you. Ready? Got it, thank you.
Hey Frankie, real quick before you leave, from the application process that you are receiving, are you seeing those numbers increase or decrease, or is there something the district might be able to help?
That stayed normal this year, just a
Okay.
little bit less this year.
Okay.
Just a little bit less.
It's free money if you get approved though, right?
Exactly right.
Okay. Thank you all again. Next item, number 6, comments from the public. We have none. Number 7, Mr. Foreman.
I should have just stayed here. Good evening again, President Allen, board members. Now you can put that cool image up if you want to. I'm pleased tonight to bring to your, to present to you for your approval the popular annual financial report for fiscal year 2020-2021 for Broken Arrow Schools. The Communications Department and Finance Department collaborate on this project each year to accomplish an annual report that truly reflects the district not only academically, but athletically, artistically, and program-wise, but also meets the criteria for a popular annual financial report, or the PAFR as we call it. It combines the district's financial information with the district highlights and accomplishments from the previous school year. The PAFR is designed to be accessible and easily understandable to the general public, and if you've got it in front of you, it looks like this. Should be with you, and that gorgeous picture up there, I'll get to that in a minute. The financials found in this report are a condensed version of what is in the annual comprehensive financial report, which Ms. Enoff will touch on later. Is that correct? I must also give major kudos in my department to Nicole Vance, our graphic designer, for just knocking it out of the park. And her creativity just made this report just glow, for lack of a better term, for the cover. And she also took a lot of the photos inside, along with ArrowVision photographer Sean Hill, who took that cover photo at graduation last year. And that is not Photoshop. That's actually what the sky looked like, if you guys recall that last year.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. And then Communications Director Tina Dixon spearheaded the entire report. She should be commended on her excellent writing skills. So with that, I'd like to ask the board to approve the 2020-2021 popular annual financial report for Broken Arrow Schools.
Absolutely amazing job. I think, before I make the motion, it's just truly, I'm glad to see you recognize the individuals, because this is beautiful. Absolutely remarkable.
They did a great job. They worked their tails
It's
off.
getting better and better every year. So
I
we're gonna
agree.
need it next
I
year.
know.
We're already starting the planning of that.
Mr. Foreman, will this be available online for the public?
It already is.
Good.
It's on our district website. You can go to our public relations page. I think it's also on the main homepage. So yes, it's readily available, and certain printings were made to be at school sites.
Will you be able to put that on the district's Facebook, social media to direct people maybe where to find that?
We did. We sent out a
Okay,
campaign
good.
for it, and also there's a article on our front page website to direct people
Right.
to that. So, but we'll do it again because we're real proud of it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that'd be a great idea. That's awfully impressive. So, great job.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, I make the motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you. Next item, number 8, Ms. Eniff.
Did you vote?
Good evening. Tonight, I have the pleasure to ask the board to approve our annual independent audit, the annual comprehensive financial report. We have a representative from Jenkins and Kemper, Mr. Michael Kemper, here to go over some of the findings. But just as a reminder to the board, this is the culmination of our financial reporting season, if you will, and every school district in the state of Oklahoma is required to go through an annual audit, which we're obviously in compliance with, but Broken Arrow actually goes a step above that in putting together this type of report. And we've done this for over 10 years now. It's hard to believe that. And what I am really appreciative about this particular report is not only is it a comprehensive set of the district's financials, but it's data compiled across all departments and all sites of the district. And so yes, while the majority of it is financially driven, we do receive data from across the district to go into this report. So it's just something to be really, really proud of, and clearly a lot of time and effort goes into finalizing this report. And so at this time, I'll ask Mr. Kemper to come up and share with you the process and some of the highlights from this year.
Well, I'm Michael Kemper. I'm one of the partners with Jenkins and Kemper. And tonight I'm going to kind of go over the audit report, and then we will look at you should also have a kind of an addendum that's called a single audit compliance report. It's about a 12-page document, maybe.
Maybe on here.
Okay. And we'll just kind of go over the financial or the federal programs that we tested this year and the results of the audit. So we'll start in the annual report on pages 22 and 23. This is the independent auditor's report. And if you look down, the last couple of paragraphs on page 22, these are the opinion paragraphs or paragraph. And this opinion just states that in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, each major fund, and aggregate remaining fund information of the Broken Arrow Public School District as of June 30th, 2021, and the respective changes in financial position in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So clean opinion on the financials. Really no issues as far as financial statements go. Process was pretty smooth this year, as it has been the last several years. So, over on the compliance information, page 8 of that packet shows a summary of the auditor results, and it kind of just goes over what we just went over on the audit report. Also, it kind of includes the fact that there were no significant deficiencies or reportable conditions in the audit report. Every year, we are required to choose, kind of on a rotational basis, the federal programs that we test at the district. Of course, this year the big program was, the CARES Act, Education Stabilization Funds. So of course that had to be picked. That was deemed high risk to begin with. The other program that came up was the special education program. So those are the two programs we selected. The district does qualify as a low-risk auditee because of the fact that you have an unqualified opinion on your financials, you're reporting on a GAAP basis, and you haven't had any findings, federal findings in the last 2 years. So because of that, we are required to select about 20% of total federal expenditures. So at the bottom of page 8, you'll see that on the financial statement side of the audit, there were no material findings or reportable conditions to include in the report. And then on the findings and question costs related to the 2 major federal awards that we tested, there were no reportable conditions either. Special education program, what we'll do is we'll test expenditures on payroll and purchase orders, but we'll also select a random sampling of IEP files and make sure that documentation in that department is up to snuff. So everything looked just fine as far as the special ed program went. Everything was very orderly. Files are tabbed and everything. It's pretty easy going. And then as far as the CARES Act money goes, most of that is making sure that you in the beginning, when you get the funds, you have to determine how you're going to use it and declare that on the application. And that we just have to make sure that what you spent is how you said you would spend it. Because they kind of push that money out real fast. There's not a lot of compliance items that you really have to test for, other than just to make sure that the items qualify for what you said you'd spend it for. So, but everything looked great on that one as well. The next page on that deals with the prior year findings. As you can see, there were no material findings in the previous year or reportable conditions, so that page is blank. So that's what I've got. Do you all have any questions on any of that, or if you want me to go through anything in the annual report, I could do that.
Any questions or discussion?
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors? Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you. Next item will be general consent items 11 through 40.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Whoop.
Oh, number 9, I apologize.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't even jumping out there.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Number 9. Ms. Kaiser? That's my fault. I apologize.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, this is
Thank you.
a important one.
I'm just
and
going
I
to hit the start
apologize.
button, right? Mr. President and members of the board, I am Rachel Kaiser. I am the new Director of Social and Emotional Learning and Health Services, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to present an update on the board's goal for you tonight. This is just a copy of the goal as it's written. I thought it might be helpful for people in the audience or people who might be viewing from home to see it. I wanted to take this opportunity just to acknowledge how incredibly fortunate we are to have a board that recognizes the important connection between students' social and emotional learning and their academic performance and school climate and graduation rates and a host of other important developmental outcomes and life goals. And that I'm incredibly honored to work alongside our principals, counselors, teachers, social services, and mental health professional partners to bring the board's goal to life and ensure that our students receive a robust social and emotional learning program and a network of supports. I also wanted to assure you as a board that we understand the importance of the work that is involved in designing a framework for students' social and emotional learning, and that we will ensure that it goes beyond just looks good and feels good and really results in real learning and real supports for students. This is just a very quick update on what we have been doing with regard to the goal since August. Our primary task during this time has been to learn about our current program and to learn a little bit about our students' needs right now. And we've been doing this through, one-on-one interviews with our counselors to get their feedback and to learn what they're seeing at their sites, as well as a time and activity tracking tool for those counselors to really get a handle on the services that they are able to provide to students right now. We will also be participating in the Oklahoma Prevention Needs Assessment. Our 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th graders will take that survey in February, and that will certainly provide us with some helpful information about what their needs are. We're also working to develop some stakeholder surveys to get some feedback from our teachers and our families regarding kiddos' needs. We've also been busy learning about best practices in our state's new comprehensive counseling framework, as well as some effective tools for teaching those SEL competencies and assessing students' growth. In addition to all the data gathering and the resource investigation, we have also seen a real need to expand our most intensive supports for students, which include our embedded therapy services and our social services partnerships. So we have grown those. We've actually increased the number of embedded therapists this year and our social services specialists as well. And the next slide, I'll give you some of those numbers. We've also just recently, and we'll roll this information out to our counselors and our secondary principals this week, we've refined our assessment process, a referral for an assessment. When a student makes a threat of harm to themselves or to others, we've learned that there's a tremendous need in our community for these assessments and potentially follow-up services. And so in order to make that process easier for families and more readily available, we have been working with our therapy agencies, Daybreak and Family and Children's Services, and they have partnered with us to provide a therapist who will be on call for a portion of every day. So if counselors see a student that is in need of an assessment and the parent is in agreement, they can make a call and that therapist will come to the site and meet with the family and assess the student right there and make some recommendations. So we're happy about that, very grateful for that. Some positive highlights. This is just kind of a quick view of some good things that have happened since August. Again, we've increased the number of our Tier 3 supports. That would be our social services folks from 3 to 9. Each of those individuals serve anywhere from 3 to 4 campuses and partner closely with our counselors and our administrators and our teachers to remove barriers for some of our students and their families to school success. We've also already this year supported 295 families. This would be things like connecting families with community agencies and resources to help meet needs like housing and needs for medical help, financial assistance, and things like that. We've grown the number of school-based therapists from 38 to 47. We now have 1,333 students who receive school-embedded therapy services, that on their caseloads. And we know that there's a demand for more. We have wait lists at a few of our sites, and that's solely because the demand is exceeding those agencies' abilities to find therapists to do the work. Our principals have been incredible and very flexible in creating space in their buildings for these therapists. We just need more of them out there to hire. A quick view of just where we're going and what we want to be ready to recommend to the district this spring. And that would be looking at our counselors' duties and being able to recommend some strategies for how we can increase the amount of time that they have available to them to support students' social and emotional learning. We also want to make some recommendations about some curriculum resources for them so that we have some consistency across our sites in providing access to the very best materials for our counselors to use. Some tools for assessing students' needs in an ongoing fashion and being able to access that, find that information easily so that we're not only looking at a student's academic performance and growth, but we're also looking at their growth in the social and emotional learning realm. And then also, growing our counselors in the very best way. So a strategic plan for onboarding them and mentoring new counselors, and then providing professional development to them. So What questions do you have?
Ms. Kaiser, you gave us the number of 1,300 students. How does this compare, or is there a number compared to last year's, when maybe the district hadn't made an investment what we've done this year? Just in comparison, do you know what that would be?
Yes, I do, but I did not write that down.
That's okay. You can share it later.
I will. Our, Ms. Brassfield set up a really great system with our therapy providers, so that they report by semester how many students and how many services they've provided and how many students they're seeing. And so we actually do have some historical data. I just forgot to bring that.
I think it's good to share that, just to show that this isn't just something we're talking about, something
Right.
we're doing, and this is showing the true impact
Mhm.
from investing those dollars and making an impact on these families and these kids.
No doubt.
I definitely want to take an opportunity to kind of look at a couple of the things here and just commend you on it. I mean, this is a comprehensive program, and it's nice to see that, you know, we actually are looking at a variety of different areas and not just, and also going outside of just the school boundaries. And so I think, you know, with today's world, you know, children's lives, it just doesn't stop when we start school and stop school. And,
Right.
you know, it's nice to see that we are taking a very pointed effort and plan towards, you know, helping families, students, and also even wrapping it up with our teachers and administrators in schools as well. So, again, nice job on that. So, glad to see we're making progress in this, and,
Thank you.
you know, love the update.
Thank you.
To me as a board member, that, you know, the academics are obviously important, that's why we have the district, but this is the most important thing we do. If it's saving a child's life, giving them the care they need. I'm willing to support that and whatever we need to do, so I appreciate
Thank you.
the effort and very, very in-depth, comprehensive plan that you guys
Thank
have
you.
executed. So I just want to thank you all.
Oh.
It's important to me.
Truly my pleasure, and it has been such a wonderful experience to get to know our counselors in a new way, and to get to know counselors from so many different sites, and to work more closely with our therapists and our social service specialists. We have really great people in this district doing really important, good things for students every day. And this job has just provided me an opportunity to get in there and like see it, you know, in person. It's remarkable. We have a lot to be proud of.
When we were in our board retreat over the summer and we were setting our goals, and you can see here on the top of the paper, it says that we hope to do this by 24-25, and to see this much progress already is great.
Wow, thank you. We're definitely, I feel like we're just in this process of learning, and figuring out where we are, and then what are the most appropriate next steps. You know, to move in a fashion that's not too fast, that, you know, everybody can't go with us, but also making sure that the decisions that we make and the recommendations that we make really meet the need. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the part that I think is really important is, you know, we're always working and fixing and solving problems and taking care of the next thing. But I love the fact that you've actually come up here and have said, okay, here are some of our accomplishments. And I think continuing to celebrate and champion our accomplishments is a big, big factor that just continues to say, you know what, we're really doing what we thought we were going to do, or what we had planned to do. And that goes with a lot of our other programs too. So
Sure.
I'm glad to see us applying here's what we're accomplishing. So look forward to the next updates coming.
Thanks. Okay.
But it's obvious, I mean, by what you're doing, that students, families know that we're here to help however we can. And I'm just talking about medical help for families. And I'm sure we'll continue to make that more robust, and
Yes.
that it's nice to know that a kid in our district should, or a family should know that their child needs help, we're here and can help them.
Yes.
And let us know.
Will do.
Let
Will
us
do.
know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nope, just an update.
It says action, but that's gonna just be, it's okay. Next item, number 10, the consent items 11 through 40.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, number 41, Mr. Perry.
Good evening. I'm seeking approval tonight for the reappointment of Davis Robinson to the Economic Development Corporation Board. Ms. Robinson is being reappointed for a second term. Tara Branson and Jason Hudson will be appointed as new members and will serve a 3-year term. And then Brandy Moore is filling a vacant seat with 2 years remaining. So,
Mr. Robinson, is that right?
Robson,
Mr.
Yeah.
Robson?
yes, is who we're
Did you say
approving.
Miss? Okay, I thought you said Miss Robson.
No. Davis Robson.
Oh, is that? This is something that we do annually because of our agreement
Time.
with the school district to have a seat on the EDC board, and it's, I think in the bylaws that we have to approve new appointments, so.
All right. I make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Perry. Next item, 42. Ms. Kearns.
Good evening. We're bringing to you tonight 2 policies for approval. The first policy, 5185, was brought to you last month for discussion, and as a first read, we'd like to go ahead and seek action on that policy tonight. The second one is a policy 4400 that is in response to new legislation over student transfers. This has been approved by RFR because we need to have a policy in place when the legislation goes into effect on January 1st. However, I do want you to know I may be back several times. This is kind of a fluid process right now as districts are trying to set their capacities and see how this new law is going to actually work in practice, not in theory. So we do ask that this be approved tonight and not as a first read just because of the time constraint of January 1. And I will probably be back with some revisions in January.
Okay. Any discussion or questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Kearns. Next item, 43, Mr. Leach.
Good evening. Just to the south of Kirkland Activities Complex, we'd have a longtime friend and neighbor in Packar Winch. And Packar is in the planning stages of numerous upgrades to their property, including a new warehouse, all new fencing between Kirkland and Packar, and also the replacement of a testing tower. They have an existing 45-foot testing tower in the northwest corner of their property that they intend on replacing with a 100-foot steel testing tower. The City of Broken Arrow pre-development didn't detect any code issues. However, the city said they would be more willing to expeditiously approve their plans if this board would approve a resolution saying that we understand what their plans are. So I request the approval of this resolution that we do not object to Packar's plans. And if you have any specific questions, the president of Packar, Mr. Michael Rogers, is here this evening.
Thank you for your partnership. First off, any questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Leach. Next item, 44, Ms. Wellborn.
Good evening, President Allen, members of the board. I bring something really exciting to you tonight. We are already discussing our 2022 graduation ceremony. When we look at dates for the ceremony, we consider a couple different things, quite a few things actually, but 2 of the most important are our advanced placement tests. Those tend to happen about the first and second week of May. And also our athletic competitions. That second week of May tends to be when all of our students are in state finals, which is a huge deal. And we want to pick a date that doesn't put any of our students in a position to have to choose between graduation ceremony and maybe an advanced placement test the very next day, and that's high stakes for them. They've worked really hard, or a state competition. So we've come up with Monday, May 16th. That would avoid both of those issues. That week is pretty free for our students. We would have project graduation that night regardless, and I will keep living right and crossing my fingers, and we're gonna have that sunset, and we'll have rain dates just in case, but plan is to have it on May 16th at Tiger Field, which we're really excited about. Our students, I talk to them all the time, day to day, and when we talk about graduation, 9 times out of 10, they are so excited to be having it at home. There's so many memories that they've already made at that field, and to have the culminating experience there, they seem to be really pleased with it. So
I'm glad to see that we continue to kind of check the pulse on that, because, you know, it was one of those big changes that we, you know, I know we asked and stuff, but, you know, it is such a cool event, and, you know, having those evening skies and everything has worked out, you know, knocking on wood, everything you can do to, you know, make certain we go well, but appreciate all the planning that goes into that, so. Yes. That's
Well,
true.
and even if we do have to have a rain day, then you and your team will be just fine. It'll be a
We
great
will.
experience as
We
well,
will.
so, and if it happens, it happens, but it's a great place to have graduation. I
It
agree
is.
with that.
Yeah. Okay. Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, next item, new business, we have none. Item 46 would be to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes. Sorry, Ms.